We're in Swindon, a genteel village not far from, well, situated between, I would say, Dudley and Bridgenorth. It hasn't always been a genteel village, as we're going to soon discover as we walk through the village. We're starting our walk from the Green Man as we head through the village of Swindon. The Green Man, it owes its existence thanks to the Duke of Wellington. In 1830 he passed a bill whereas people could, if they paid 2 guineas, transform their house into a bar, and that's exactly what happened here. They formed one of the rooms they used and they turned it into a bar. As I say, it cost them 2 guineas to do that. Over the road from the car park of the Green Man, we find this, the old village well, which was until 1902 one of the main sources of drinking water for the village. Once again, Smestow Brook, we've come across this before, especially when we were in Treasel. On the right hand side of Smestow Brook there used to be Steelworks, RTB, Richard Thomas and Baldwin. A little bit more about that a little bit later on. Before the Steelworks there was a corn mill, and before that there was a fulling mill. What was a fulling mill? Well, it was used in the woolen industry. It was hammers that was driven up by a mill on a cam, which used to hammer out onto the wool, knocking out all of the, beating out I should say, the oils and the dirt, and making it fuller, making it thicker, hence a fulling mill. After the fulling process, the wool was left out to dry out on tenter frames. On the frames with tenter hooks, and that was where the wool was hung out. Left on tenter hooks now is of course a phrase that we still use when we are waiting, eagerly anticipating an event to happen. Right next to Smestow Brook we have the Swindon Community Centre. It's got a pitch roof now, but this was the canteen for the steelworks of Richard Thomas and Baldwin. Swindon Forge Way. It does give us a gentle reminder of what once stood here, namely the Iron and Steel Works, 500 years, and of Richard Thomas and Baldwin in later years. There's been iron and steel works on this site for about, well, it was for about 500 years. It later became the location of Richard Thomas and Baldwin. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But Charles II, well, Oliver Cromwell's army was chasing Charles II's army after the Battle of Worcester, and it said that they stayed here and sharpened their swords using the facilities of the forge. A sign that kids are on holiday, there's always roadworks. As soon as we pass the site of the steelworks, we come on the Staffordshire and Worcester Canal. Steelworks, which I've just been talking about over here on the left hand side, this actually dominated Swindon. It was the main area, it was the main activity of Swindon, and as I said before, it is far more genteel these days. And head back towards Swindon High Street. Yeah, the site just over the way there was the site of Richard Thomas and Baldwin. Steelworkers, iron and steel workers. It was a South Wales company, I believe. And there was puddling furnaces. Puddling furnaces were they turned pig iron into wrought iron. Pig iron's no good as it is. It's not used for anything. It's too brittle. So they used puddling furnaces and turned it into wrought iron. Wrought iron, one of the best examples of a wrought iron structure, I suppose, is the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Richard Thomas and Baldwin. Well, Baldwin, his son, became Prime Minister between the wars. Well, 4 times Prime Minister between the wars, I believe. He was born locally. It may have been Dudley, may have been Stourport, I'm not quite sure. I'll check up for you. I've said before, I think, that these lock gates were made in Bilston, in Braidley in Bilston. They last about 25 years. This particular one, it's got a plaque on there saying it was made in 2007. Got a bit leaky as well by the look of it. To fill a lock, you're supposed to open these ground paddles first. There's one either side, and then when you've opened the ground paddles, you open the gate paddle. That's to save the boat being bashed about, so you don't get a sudden influx of water at one time. Continuing our walk up towards the old bush. Shame about the roadworks. Have the local shops in Swindon. Over the road there's a derelict building. It looks as though it may have been an old farmhouse, but it does look quite grand. There's no work being done on it at the moment. The last pub in Swindon was the Greyhound. This has now been turned into flats. It is a Grade 2 listed building. And I believe the barn also is a listed building. Okay, that's the walk complete. Let's head back towards the greyhound, not the greyhound, the green man, and pick up the car. That concludes this week's vlog. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the like button and the bell notification button also, which will give you notice of when the next vlog is released. It's always going to be on Friday at around about 5 o'clock. Next week's vlog, we're in Bridge North.